Hey guys, welcome back to the Generous Lifestyle channel with me, Lyle Weber. Excited to have you with me today. In today's video, we are going to be talking about compound interest and how it affects your life today. So let's hop on straight into today's video. You might have heard of a guy by the name of Albert Einstein. If not, Google him, see the cool things that he discovered over the years of his life, and I'm sure you'll be pretty impressed. Well, one of the things that he said is that compound interest is the most powerful force on the earth or in the world. Do I agree with him? No, I don't, because I believe that God is the most powerful force in the world. However, from a mathematical perspective, I would have to say I probably agree with him. Before we can talk about compound interest and what it is, I think it's important to let's go to the basics real quick and let's talk about interest itself. So let's say, what is interest? Interest is the cost of borrowing money. So in other words, if I go to a bank and I borrow money from the bank, I am promising to pay them back the capital or the principal amount that I borrowed, as well as an amount over and above that. And that portion over there is the interest. If I go and I borrow 10,000 and I say I'm going to pay them 5% over and above that, I'm going to give them $500 over and above that. So at the end of the year, I'm going to give them $10,500 as an example. So that's just at a very high level. So let's talk about two types of interest real quick. We're going to talk about simple and we're going to talk about compound. And yes, I do know that we do have something called nominal interest, but just for the sake of this video, I'm going to stick to the two. What simple interest talks about is, and it's basically illustrated by means of an example. Let's say I go and borrow $10,000 at 5%, but it's going to be for 3 years, right? So actually, let's change this around. Let's say I'm saving money and I'm getting 5% per year. So let's make it personal. My benefit, I'm saving money, okay? So simple interest, I'm going to have, at the end of the year, $10,500 because 5% of 10,000 is $500. That's year one. In year two, it's going to be 10,000 multiplied by 5%, right? So that's going to be another $500. In year three, it's going to be 10,000 multiplied by 5%. It's another $500. So over 3 years, I'm going to have that 500 from year one, that 500 from year two, and actually it's the one. Let's do this. That 500, that 500, and that 500. We're going to have $1,500 that we earned over 3 years. Compound interest, on the other hand, is slightly different, and it's better if it's working for you. So let's look at compound interest real quick. So compound interest is interest on interest. So let's use the $10,000 again. So 10,000 times 5%, I'm going to make $500 worth of interest. But here's the kicker, here's the cool part. It's going to be in year two, let's call that year one. Year two, it's going to be, I've got 10,000 plus 500, which is going to be 10,500, and that's going to earn me interest. And let me just pull up my calculator real quick over here on my phone. So I've got 10,500 times 5%. That's going to be $525 that I'm going to earn. That's going to be year two. Let's make that year two. Then year three, we're going to have 10,500, which is that amount over there, plus that over there, plus 525, which is going to be, calculate it real quick, 11,025 times 5%, It's going to be $551.25. So if we add those up real quick, it's going to be 500 plus 525 plus that. So let's do this in the calculator. 525 plus 500. It's going to equal $1,576.25. That's the interest that I'm going to make compared to, let's see, the $1,500, which is all the way up here. So just by compounding, I made an extra $76.25. And you might say, well, that's not a lot of money. Well, yes, because the amount that we are looking at over here is small. But what happens if you had $100,000 saved, or $200,000 or $500,000? All of a sudden, compounding on an annual basis makes a massive difference. Makes a big difference. And that's from the perspective of you saving money or investing money. But on the flip side, that's where they get you as well. Like with your credit cards and your mortgage and your car payments, there's something called compound interest which works against you. Have you ever found yourself in a position where you go and you pay a bill, or you're paying, let's say, a student loan, and you're paying $1,000 or $200 or $500 or $200 every month, but that balance just doesn't seem to move. It seems like it's growing, or it seems like it's just staying the same. It's because of compounding. So you're making the minimum payment, and it just covers maybe a little bit of your principal or your capital, but it just compounds. The debt just compounds and it compounds. I've got friends who have student loans, and they started out with $100,000, and because they paid the minimum, years later they actually ended up in a position where they owed $150,000 or $175,000 just purely from the basis of the debt compounding. So make sure that when it comes to compound interest, guys, if it's working for you, it's wonderful in terms of your investments, but if it could work against you. So what do you do if you find yourself in a position where you've got debt and you've got a credit card and you've got some other form of debt and there is compound interest? My advice, this is something I want to share with you, is pay more than the minimum. By paying more than the minimum, you are paying towards the capital as well as the interest, but then the amount over and above the minimum, make sure that it goes towards the capital, so in the long run, you're going to end up paying less interest. Okay, so it works for you and it works against you. Let's be people where it's working for us and not against us. God is for you, not against you, but let's apply these basic principles and ensure that we're making sure that this powerful force called compound interest is working for us. Let me know below if you knew what compound interest was before this example. If you've actually looked at let's say you've got debt, do you know what the interest rate is? Just comment yes or no below. Yes, I know what it is. If you have investments out there, do you know what rate you're getting on an annual basis? And just let us know. And we are walking this journey out together. If this video was a blessing to you, click subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and share it with somebody out there. The aim of this channel is to bring you hope from a biblical perspective and to show you that God is good and faithful. And as we apply these natural principles, we will get to a position of financial freedom sooner rather than later.